Hey everybody. So I don't go live on YouTube very often. I'll probably come on a lot more often. I've been going live plenty on Facebook and Instagram lately. So if you want a lot more information, if you just want to see me a lot more often, if you want to hear more stuff, if you want to get more personal with me, check me out over on Instagram and Facebook. I don't go live every single day, but I'm that's one of my New Year's resolutions is to participate more in social media, even though I absolutely loathe it. Uh, Absolutely loathe it. And you'll notice I'll have like big gaps. Sometimes I'll go for weeks or months. I won't post anything because I'm doing what I love and I'm avoiding technology and social media. So I'll pop in a lot more often here. But again, if you want to see me a lot more often, check me out on Facebook or Instagram. So I will take your, hey Fran, I will take your questions, any questions that you want to throw out. Today, I don't have too long, some amount of time. I won't answer everything, but, answer what I can or what I want to answer and leave what I can't or don't have the willpower or the brain power to answer. Um, Yeah, Fran, we do have a good group here. Some people on YouTube have been with me for years. Uh, well, let's see. What is the question there? Where did the I have Cancer ascended at 26 degrees. Come back. Where? There we go. Yes, D. Stevens, I am open for readings. If you can't find an appointment, my schedule should be open. If you can't find one, just send me a message and my brother will schedule one for you. But yes, I'm open for all readings, all kinds of readings right now. Come on. All right, I'm going to have to get the hang of this comments thing here. They pop up and then they disappear. S, what I expected in 2024 in the 7th. So, Cancer ascendant 24 degrees. We're going to be having a few things affecting the 24-degree ascendant. Not Pluto. That's good. Not Saturn. We'll have to look a bit more closely at the outer transits. You're going to want to look at outer planets mostly to see. All right. I do not like this disappearing comment thing. I mean, this is extremely irritating. Come on, comments. General theme for this year that should be on everyone's radar. Yeah, Pluto going into Aquarius. And we had a taste of it, and now it's back in Capricorn, but it's going to be going back into Aquarius on the 20th, back into Capricorn the 1st of September, then back officially into Aquarius. It is the end of the old age. I mean, this is going to be 20 years of systematically, actually the systematic breakdown of systems. Systems that are outdated and that don't properly more serve the masses. So with a lot of deindustrialization and the more normalization of what right now seems radical, which is more like a permaculture, organic, or local lifestyle. Define this aspect. Capricorn in conjunct. Where did it go? Where did it go? Wait. Okay, Moon in conjunct Venus. Well, that's a tough one. It's tougher for men than women, I think, in terms of relationship success. For men, it can be very, very difficult to negotiate that aspect because what they want to partner with in a domestic way and what they're attracted to are very, very different. So they tend to gravitate towards women that more remind them of the moon, but lust after or desire women who remind them of Venus. So we have to find partners that have um, very odd qualities, qualities that you wouldn't put together that represent both those particular signs. I actually do attract quite a lot of guys that have both Capricorn and Venus placements because I am very traditional. I love domestic life. Um, I'm very loyal. Uh, high expectations in relationships. Yet I got a lot of lingerie. That's it's gonna be Leo stuff. Didn't always, but this was the summer of collecting beautiful things because Venus retrograde was the best thing that ever happened to me. Other questions? Where are they? Do you do rectifications? I do not. No, we have no way to prove that rectified charts are or are not correct. And I haven't been doing astrology long enough to attempt something like that. I think only people that have been doing this 30 or more years should attempt chart rectification. And it is notoriously, Robert Hand says, his opinion is that it is notoriously wrong. But I say that there's just really is no way to know for sure whether you're right or not right. So I don't touch it. Let's see. That was comment stuff. Do you do transits with secondary progressions? Yeah, I'll look at that. Do you think South Node conjunct the Sun in Synastry denotes past life connections? I don't have opinion about past lives. I can't say it is. I can't say it isn't. I don't look at the nodes as something that's outside of the human experience or common archetypal images. That's what I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about what goes on out there. I am not concerned about figuring out what happens in the hereafter. I am concerned about the present moment. I'm concerned about this lifetime. I do not waste my time in conjecture. I don't want to waste the time that I have here wanting to be somewhere else. So I just let that be itself, and I worry about what's inside the human brain. Just the physical unconscious, the collective unconscious, that's enough of a mystery. So I don't have an opinion about karma. I don't have an opinion about past lives, things that happen outside of common experience, human experience. I don't care. I'll find that out later. But I think that the North and the South Node denote familiarity at the South Node and what could be growth expiring at the North Node. Oh, thank you so much, Anya. I appreciate that. That's never happened for me before. I am not going to turn you down. I will tell you what, Pluto transits to the moon are no fun when it comes to all areas of life, particularly when you have Pluto in the second house. Do the math. Hey, I'm glad a lot of you could join me. All right, let me pick up a few more questions here. Going live on YouTube is a lot easier than I anticipated. What about harmonic charts? Do you use them? I do. I use them to show me the minor relationships between the planets when I'm looking for minor aspects. Oh, somebody's got a transiting Pluto conjunct their moon. I feel ya. That is rough stuff. This will plumb your psychological depths. I don't care how well you know yourself. I don't care if you're the Dalai Lama himself. You're going to find things out about yourself that you did not know before. As that is the nature of Pluto's revelation, regeneration, and have I ever learned a lot about myself? And I've got a whole, another 9 months of this business. Let's see. All declination significant? Sure, they are. That's just another tool in your toolbox. You don't have to use them, but you certainly can. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get these comments to stay up. I'm going to have to get my brother to help me with this. This is so annoying. Will Pluto transit conjunct my Sun ascendant and Venus be difficult? I'm trying to read it fast before it disappears. Yes, it is going to be difficult. But that doesn't mean that it won't be good. We pay dearly when we have Pluto transits, but we get so much out of it. So much out of it. So we give a lot, but we get a lot. And you will recognize the method behind the madness after it passes. You will find greater depth to how you think yourself up, and what fills your soul, what stimulates you, what gets you going. That's your solar power. The moon. What habitual emotional patterns you need to address in order to have a better, clearer life. And Venus, what you value, your sense of self-esteem, your worth, what it is that you'll accept in a relationship. All of that is going to get better. Fari just turned 40 and still not married. Capricorn moon. Let me see if I can find that. Capricorn moon, Capricorn rising. So moon's in the first. Okay. Mars and Venus in Libra. So Mars is a little bit Mars has a hard time with pursuit in Libra. And we can have a hard time with understanding when to pursue, when to press forward, and when to hang back. And it's important to gain skills that we perhaps did not get in childhood as an adult, and learn how to pursue or to allow someone to be, how to allow yourself to be pursued. It's how to get the passive and aggressive dynamic when it comes to relationships right, or more accurate. And self-esteem is also something that we're going to have to really work on when we have Mars in a passive sign. And I would get really clear about what you want. We can struggle with being straight with ourselves, with knowing what we want outside of relationship with another. We can struggle with our individuality with significant signs in Libra. Sorry, planets in Libra. So I would get really clear about what you want, and I would get really good about having a boundary and a frame when you date. It's very popular these days to have no boundary and have no frame and have it to be everything just free-floating. Let's just see where it goes. Let's just see where it develops. And you'll probably end up in the exact same phase of relationship 5 years from now, still seeing where it develops, if there is no intentionality and if there is no standard. So it's so critically important to make sure that you are not allowing something that is open-ended, free-flowing, and non-committal, because it makes it just too easy for somebody that isn't going to prioritize you, or that just doesn't have to commit, doesn't have to put in, does not have to invest in you. It makes it too easy to have somebody be able to just plunder your resources and give nothing in return. And that's seeing that's a major, major problem in Generation X, and they're teaching it to subsequent generations. Low investment in relationships and demanding a high return. It's a critical character flaw in Generation X. Let's see. What else have we got here? Maybe I can pull up more questions. God, this is so yes, Scarlett. Yes, absolutely. We can be attacked with Pluto transits to Mars, particularly with the opposition. But yeah, with the conjunction, that is something that can happen because we ourselves are finding our power and asserting our personal power in new ways. And we're often pushing envelopes we have not pushed before, and you can expect pushback. People don't want us to change. They don't like it when we change. They want us to be what we've always been because that's what they've always known. That's what they've come to rely on. And often when we get better, particularly within a romantic relationship or even in any kind of close relationship, when we improve, when we get better, when we solve some of our emotional or mental problems, sometimes that's destabilizing to a relationship because the relationship has been built on the level of insecurity that we've had. And oftentimes that's been part of the agreement and the contract of that particular relationship. And when we renegotiate or need to renegotiate because we've changed or grown or we know we need more, we're not who we used to be, people are going to resist that. And we, even if it's healthy, they're going to resist it. And we have to be prepared to reinforce that boundary for 6 months to a year before people believe us. And it takes energy to continually push back, but it is worth it. We have to prove that we've changed, and we have to prove that you're not going to be able to get what you've always gotten out of me. You have to prove it. And it takes time and it takes effort. It sucks that people don't let us be better, but it's something that we often have to fight for. Okay. All right. Hey, everybody, it's good to see you. Oh, here's a good one. Hottest synastry aspects in your opinion? Well, I'm in the dating pool right now, so there's a few that I'm looking for. Always good aspects from Sun to Mars, particularly the conjunction. Oh, God. The composite chart, too. Good aspects from Sun to Pluto, Mars to Pluto. Venus, Mars, of course. All except the in conjunction. I don't like the in conjunction myself. No, don't love the in conjunction. There could be some attraction there, but frankly, I don't want to start out in the sex therapist's office. I'm too old for that. I prize sexual chemistry. Like, it is important to me. I have an exaggerated Mars, and I ain't putting up with bad sex. I'm not tolerating it. It's important that you have compatibility here. And I don't abide by the argument that love conquers all. No, it doesn't. No, it don't. Mm-mm. Love does not conquer problems with frequency. Does not conquer problems with preference. I think that when you're getting into a relationship, you need to make sure that you have sexual compatibility. That's not something that you should figure that we will work on as we go along, and it's sure to get better. Well, it may not. It may not. And I'm just too old, and my hair is too red to mess around with that. So, in conjunctions, no. Mm-mm. The significant aspects that indicate using sex as a weapon, no, I'm not doing that. You give it up. You give it up. If you're the only one I'm going to be with, you give it up. You don't hold back. Not putting up with that. And you better give it up too. If you're holding somebody's sex life in your hands because you've asked for monogamy, you do not use sex as a weapon. So difficult aspects from Venus to Pluto, Sun to Pluto, not doing that. I don't like difficult aspects from Mars to Pluto either, but they are very hot. They're very, very attractive in the beginning. Yeah, let's see. Venus, Moon stuff, those are not sexual aspects. The really hard aspects, not the in conjunction between Venus and Mars, are extremely hot and flirtatious. Moon, Pluto, it's a lot of emotional chemistry. Mars, Pluto, ooh, yeah, good stuff there. There's a few combinations, but this is a specific. This is a specific video that this is a specific live we need to do, where I'll list the really good aspects and then we'll talk about them. But I can't think about them all right now on the fly. Let's see. Must have sexual compatibility. Ooh, the cutie who, yeah, I don't always agree with everything he says, Mr. Orion Taraban, but it is a cutie. Yeah, you better have sexual compatibility. This business that it'll work itself out. No. I've studied this stuff. I spent a lot of time learning about human sexuality. And it's something that I've continued to study over the course of decades. And I study relationships as well. You need to have lifestyle compatibility, compatibility with your hopes and your dreams, your major ideas about morality, your vision for your life needs to be compatible. You need to have sexual compatibility. We can't just have feelings for each other. That will not be enough. That will not that will not cover a multitude of sins in a relationship. Let's see. Thank you, Amber. Oh, thank you, Brittany. I appreciate that. Are asteroids relevant in interpretation? Yeah, they're relevant, but they will not make or break a relationship. They're the footnotes. Thank you, Amber. I appreciate that. You don't think he's handsome? Oh, but I like nerdy dudes. You give me a good nerd. That'll make me crazy. Got a lot of Virgo in me. He probably does too. Let's see. What else have we got here? Oh, thank you, John. I appreciate that. You know, YouTube stopped advertising me the way that they used to. It really has impacted my business pretty badly. Asteroids, Eros, and Aphrodite. Again, they will show details in a relationship. They will not show the essentials of compatibility. Again, Jean, we were talking about that earlier with composite aspects, say great sex. There's a few of them. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow after I compile a list. I have to sit and really think about that. Yes, Brittany, I am a Virgo rising with Mercury in Virgo right directly on the ascendant. Mm-hmm. Now, how do you determine who has a stronger Pluto in a synastry chart? What do you look for? The person who has more aspects to Pluto, to the personal planets, and whatever planets in their chart might be ruled by Pluto or be in Scorpio. Angela, what happened to Seth? He's still around. He just has boys that are a little bit older now that take a lot of his time. And he works full time. So he does astrology when he can, but he's not always available to us the way that we would like him to be because he's got life. Hey, Ricardo. Again, Gianna, aspects are best for sex and lust between two people. This is the question of the day. We're gonna talk about this tomorrow. Um, this will be a fun thing. Heliocentric charts. I only look at those when I'm looking at prediction when it comes to the major eras of time or major transits that don't really affect human behavior. I only look at that for things that are outside of what I actually do for a living. Aspects that show a relationship won't work. Well, there are a lot that are very, very challenging. There are very few that show it will not work. There are very few that are actual deal breakers. But there are some that are going to be extremely challenging in any relationship, like really difficult aspects from personal planets to Pluto or Neptune or really any of the outer planets. But there's nothing that is a deal breaker across the board. Let's see. Yeah, Eva, I will be here live again. I don't know when. What is tomorrow? Thursday? I don't know when. I'll just have to pop in whenever it works for me. You're probably going to find I'm very sporadic when it comes to lives on YouTube. Because I pretty much show up whenever I want to. What are your thoughts on Steve Judd? There's a lot of people that have great respect for him. I'm not terribly familiar with his work, but one of my apprentices actually studied under him, has derived amazing training from him. Okay. Do you ever feel like there's a good time for Placidus house system? Yeah, when I'm measuring time, when I'm looking at return charts, then I'll use a time-based system like Placidus. Solar return charts, moon return charts, anything that has to do, or transit charts, something that has to do, I'm measuring a space of time. I use space-based systems to measure people, because people take up space. Okay. Well, when you have the moon and Venus in conjunct as the man, you have to find partners, whether you're gay or straight, that have that have both qualities, in this case of Leo and Capricorn, which you would normally not put those together. You would think that's that's just so odd to fit those two things. Glamour and tradition, structure and romance. So we have to find people that embody both those signs, and that can be a tall order. But we have to use our discernment because we have to be a little bit more picky. because we're looking for somebody that has it all in terms of needs, fulfilling our needs, the moon, and fulfilling our wants, Venus. We tend to get impatient. We have an in conjunction, and we often will choose one or the other. And then we get into the relationship, and we suffer because one or the other is not served, is not fulfilled. So very often men with that in conjunction, moon to Saturn too, the in conjunction from moon to Saturn, or Venus to Saturn, the in conjunction from moon to Venus, men will have one steady, committed relationship, but they will keep the girlfriend in an apartment across town. Very, very common behavior. I see it at least twice a week. Thank you, Ricardo. I appreciate that. You're sweetie. Oh, Madison, appreciate when there's advice within astrology videos because your chart is full of hard aspects to Neptune. I think that's what a lot of astrologers are missing. They'll explain things, but they don't often have the wisdom or the experience or the knowledge to provide remedies or really to address the issues in a way that could fix the issues. 'Cause it's one thing to describe something, it's another thing to know how to solve it. Okay. Well, inconjunctions are just difficult, Z, because they imply a improper sacrifice, an improper giving away or abandoning ourself in the natal chart, and in synastry they show a significant lack of compatibility or harmony. So we have to go way out of our way to bring together two things that don't mix. It requires a lot of energy to fix in conjunctions, but it can be done. Alrighty. Men with moon square Venus, same issue. Not well, yeah, but it's not as bad as the in conjunction. The in conjunction is extremely difficult to solve. And we also tend to give more of ourself away with the in conjunction. We sacrifice way too much to get love, and we have to be willing to be more selfish. Now, what men will often do with that in conjunction between Moon and Venus is they will, be very selfless and very sacrificing in the beginning of life, and then get tired of it, and they turn very bitter and decide, well, I'm not going to have any more to do with this. And they will, they'll experience isolation and loneliness. And so they'll go from a lot of giving and selflessness to selfishness in order to protect themselves. And you find that a lot within conjunctions, that we can get so caught up in the sacrifice and self-abandonment that are involved with them that we finally get tired of it and we go in the complete other direction. We cut things off. Somebody can relate to that. Yeah. These are some pretty difficult things to deal with, and in the future we can spend more time talking in depth about some of these specifics here. I know I play with my hair all the time. I love it. It's very relaxing for me. Where did you learn astrology? Who did you study under? I studied under a Bulgarian whispering witch. She was my teacher. She was my best friend's great-grandmother, and I learned from her after she had just been in the country. It's just immigrated from a very, very small rural hill town in rural Bulgaria about 6 months before I knew her. I was so fascinated with her. And I studied under her for 2 years. And she taught me astrology, numerology, witchcraft, everything that she knew, natural medicine, herbology, what we call now permaculture, but she would just call natural, she would just call indigenous knowledge. So she was my teacher. And I didn't realize what I had in her. I was in my early 20s at the time, and I figured, I'll go back to the West Coast, and I'll come back in a while, and I'll study under her some more. But within 6 months of me going back to the West Coast, she had passed away, so I didn't get a chance to study under her anymore. But she was my greatest teacher. And since then, most of my training is actually in psychology and human sexuality, behavioral science, counseling. And as far as astrology, that's something that I picked up from my teacher and just took it and ran with it. Studied for about 15 years after that until I felt confident enough to go out into the world with it. Alrighty, so what have we got here? How do you handle difficult clients? Oh, that's a whole... That's a whole live in itself, baby. Pretty easily, actually. And if you read my the blurb that prepares you for a session before you book a session, it's actually hilarious. There's quite a lot in there when it comes to warnings, and even going so far as to say if you have significant aspects from Moon to Neptune or Moon to Jupiter, that be prepared. The jewel will disappoint you. Be prepared. I've learned to plug up a lot of holes over the years when it comes to preparing people for what what is going to happen, and honestly, my customer service skills are so good after doing this for 15 years that I rarely ever have an issue with anybody, ever. And I don't attract conflict to me. I have a very peaceful life. Yeah, Brittany, do not play with me. I actually can become a wicked witch. Oh, self-made. What a sweetie. I appreciate that. What would be Chiron in late Gemini on the 4th, trying to Pluto? Oh, don't disappear. Make it come back. What would be Chiron in late Gemini in the 4th, trying Pluto in the 8th, out of sign trine? It's going to be weak if it's an out of sign. I wouldn't worry about that. That's not an aspect, in my opinion. I rarely consider out of sign aspects a thing. So I would not worry about that. And anyway, it sounds like it's a good thing. Chiron and trine to Pluto is fabulous. That means transformation, healing, dealing with our attachment wounds. That comes relatively easy. And you're very suited to analysis with that. What do you think of Vedic astrology? I think it's fabulous. But I do not think that it is as descriptive of human personality and human behavior. I tend to use it to look at the big cycles of life, the big transit cycles of life. But yeah, good questions. As Mars in the 8th house in synastry always indicate mutual attraction if we have other things that can support that, but by itself, no, it's not just that one thing. I won't do it. Ruby. Oh, well, you know what? I spent the first 5 years, feeling like I did something wrong, because I would have people with Moon, Neptune, or Venus, Neptune aspects, being disappointed in me. But then I figured out that, wait a minute, I think they might be expecting more. then I can actually deliver. So I'm going to plug that hole up by just making sure that they know ahead of time what I can and I cannot do. And I am not a miracle worker. Let's see. Out of sign synastry aspects. I rarely consider them. Is there a way to overcome hurt from people whose personal planets conjunct your Chiron? Oh God, isn't that something that I've been dealing with this year? I can relate to that. Ooh, I had a bad one with with the personal planet conjunct to my Chiron. I'm still wrestling with it actually, because it was very, very personally painful and really just eviscerated my attachment issues, which we all have to some degree. And I've been doing a lot of healing this year. When we do have someone's personal planet, especially if that person's personal planet is aspected difficultly in their chart, because they may not have the sensitivity, they may not have the character even that is required to handle us gently. I mean, that's like an open wound that is exposed, and somebody could do anything that they want with it. So that we are very vulnerable when we have somebody's personal planet conjunct to our Chiron. And I think that we need to be very careful when that does occur, and we need to use great discretion when it comes to protecting ourselves and keeping ourselves insulated from the potential for injury there. Lissy, have you activated any new superpowers? Yeah, bitch, the power to walk away. That's a good one I've sharpened this year. I've always had that power, but this year it's become a superpower. Yeah. The ability to identify bullshit no matter what the attachment is, no matter what the attraction is, no matter what the level of desire is. None of that will ever come before my self-respect. Ever. So this has been the year that it's become very easy for me to be mean when it's called for. Yeah. We can't be nice all the time. Sometimes the best choice is to treat somebody exactly the way they've treated you. Typically, my mantra is treat others as you'd like to be treated, unless you come across a dickhead. And then you need to treat them the way that they've treated you. Because it's those times in life when it's very, very, very wise to give somebody a taste of their own medicine. Yeah. Good dose of it. Okay. I will, Leela. I will go live on YouTube more. Let's see. Would you do a future composite video on Venus opposite Neptune? You have all the others. I didn't see it on your Patreon either. I'm going to be shutting down Patreon and starting a paid YouTube channel here because Patreon sucks. It makes it impossible for me to update anything. It's constantly breaking and it doesn't like my iPad. So I'm going to nix Patreon and send everybody an email over there. They need to come over here if they want to see exclusive videos because I will be going live almost every day in exclusive YouTube group. So let's see. Yeah, I will do that video sooner than later. Venus opposite Neptune in composite. That can be good. That can be. It really depends on what the rest of the chart looks like, or if we have two highly Neptunian people. If we have one or two that are not too Neptunian themselves, and that's probably going to be better uh, than not, but it can be something in some cases, depending on the natal charts and the rest of the synastry and the composite, something that's showing there's too much idealism. All right, awesome. We have some people that are happy about my idea. Let's see. What synastry placements would indicate mutual attraction? This is what we were talking about earlier, hot aspects and attractive aspects. We're going to talk about this specifically tomorrow. I will schedule the live so you guys have a chance to at least get a heads up. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Miss X or Mr. X. I don't think we're supposed to know because you're X. Sun in conjunct Saturn. That's a rough one. We are dealing with a imposter complex. We're learning how important and how capable we are with that in conjunction. People experience way more a feeling of humiliation that is actually justified, because typically our self-esteem was not supported the way it should have been in early life. So there's a lot of questions about one's legitimacy, but there's really nothing to worry about. We think ourselves up in a weak way with that in conjunction, but it really is just a function of a flawed self-image. We're not seeing ourselves correctly. People are actually stronger, more resilient than the people around them with that in conjunction if they're really honest with themselves. Yeah, Lincoln, I work with Lilith. Love Lilith. What do I use in my hair? My daughter does my hair. I paid for her education, and now she pays me back by doing my hair because she graduated from hair school, and she's an esthetician. Let's see. Oh, we're gonna have to wrap up here in a few minutes. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been this long. I was gonna be on for like 10 minutes, and the time has gone so fast. Where did that question go? Retrograde Mars in Cancer, opposite Venus in Capricorn. So planets that are in difficult signs and in difficult aspect, and one of them's retrograde. So we definitely have to get the passive and the aggressive in tune. Because there's a lot of lack of surety with an opposition in those particular signs. There's a lot of passion there, and we can be dealing with being too aggressive or too passive at the wrong times. So we have to learn to really study our prey. This is the thing with difficult Mars aspects. You have to, and I don't care what aspect Mars is in to what planet, what difficult planet to what difficult aspect to what difficult planet. Doesn't matter. Mars compromised in any way is going to show a frustration when it comes to successfully securing sex. That's what Mars is for. So when we have Mars in difficult aspects in the natal chart, Mars in difficult aspects in synastry or in composite charts, It's showing us where there's a buildup of frustration, where there is a lack of easily reaching that goal of mating, of securing the object of our desire. Venus, the object of our desire. Mars is how we get it, how we use our passion to pursue. So you have to look at Mars in a difficult aspect to another planet as it needs to learn how to control itself. We have to learn how to control that drive, and sometimes even how to stimulate it, depending on, see, if it's in Cancer, sometimes we have to stimulate that aggressive drive. In my case, I have a Mars that's opposite to Jupiter. I am a hunter. I am extremely masculine, and I have had to learn to allow myself to be hunted. Yeah. Even though I can go out and get everything for myself, do everything for myself, you can probably hunt better than him. You have to allow yourself to be passive and to be hunted, right? It's a game. With Mars opposite to Venus, you actually have to become less selfish, less self-involved. You have to study your prey. You have to know what it is that you're hunting. Mars in the Aquarius in the first house, perpetual ghoster. Ghosting pisses me off so badly. It's so fucking weak. No, we need to be direct. Mars is how we direct our drive. Yes, underground. We have to allow ourselves to be, represent the object of the affection. For some of us, hunting is natural, but it doesn't get us what we want. Now, if we're a man, if that opposition in my chart or in a man's chart, no problem. But sometimes we have aspects that lend us a challenge when it comes to being in tune with our gender role or with our chosen gender role. Okay, Mars in Capricorn in the 11th, I'm too direct. Sometimes that can happen. Mars does very well in Capricorn. Mars is the general is promoted in Capricorn. Yeah, it could be quite authoritative. I think Mars in Capricorn is super, super sexy. But I think Mars in Leo is probably my favorite. Love me some Mars in Leo. But I got Venus in Leo, so, alrighty, so I think I am going to wrap up here for today. I will be back tomorrow. I'll give you at least a couple hours heads up so you guys can know when I'm going to pop back in, but I will be live at some point tomorrow. And I will also put together private YouTube group where I will be going live virtually every day in there, and we'll also have certain lessons, workshops, all kinds of stuff. Alrighty, my friends. I'll see you soon.